Okay, here we go then. The last race of the day, it's all to play for. Race 2, it all comes down to the next 14 laps. And away they go. Now, and there's Darren spinning out as well. Darren, there's contact there, push Kieran wide. Oh, but he's gone off. What's going on? Shane's also there in the BMW. Oh, nearly loses it. Kieran's going to have to slow down. No, he's gone too much. It's Josh here, and he is leading. This is fantastic for Josh. Oh, a bit of a luck tap. And Josh, oh my God, who's going to take it? I think it's Darren. I think it's going to be Rob. Rob gets it. He's actually on the grass. This isn't good for Tom. And he's made the move. Look at that. Through Eau Rouge. Oh, that's Mike. Mike's gone off. Oh, Craig sideways, big time. Is it going to be enough? No, Sam takes it and takes the title ahead of Tom. The cars are lined up here for the second race here at DragonTrail. On the front row of the grid is Craig Kellett in the Nissan GTR for Elite Racing. Next to him is Sam Parker in the Team Parker Racing Renault Megane. On row 2 is Darren Parker in the second of the Renault Megane for Team Parker Racing, and Stephen Heath in the Subaru WRX. Row 3 is Tom Foster in the KTEC Racing Subaru WRX. Next to him is Rob Pellet in the other Elite Racing Nissan GTRs. Row 4 is Mike Kuipers in the Nissan GTR and Josh Hardy in the Renault Megane. Row 5 is Mark Nicol in the Renault Megane. Next to him is Joe Burrows in the Mazda Atenza. And at the back row of the grid, we've got the Nissan GTR of Harry Cook after he had some technical issues getting on the grid. And Gary Black, also with technical issues, isn't on the grid to start the race at all. So, race 2 then, and Craig on the front of the grid again, but this time with Sam rather than Darren. And away they go. It's another good start for Craig and another poor start for the Renaults. They don't get off the line just like the Nissans and the Subarus are because of their rear-wheel drive setups. And we go into the first chicane again. Is it clean? It looks like it. They're 4 wide at some points. On board with Josh. He's just behind Mike and Rob here, who's managed to get himself up into 4th. So over the curbs. Oh, just about. Oh, there's a little bit of a tap there by Josh. Nothing too bad though. And they all managed to get themselves lined up. So Tom in 3rd here, still on the softs, Craig and Stephen both on the hard. So Tom will probably look to take full advantage of being on the softs. Also noted that Josh and Mark are on the softs, so no doubt they'll make their way up too. Tom on the inside then, looking to get past Stephen. And he holds back, stays behind. Further down. Oh, that's Rob. Oh, he's hit the wall. Oh, that's pretty awful. Oh, and he's hit by Harry as well. So this is disastrous for Rob. And he basically has to carry on from the back of the grid. We've got a little replay of that. So let's have a little look at that now. Let's go on board with Rob, and as you can see, Mike is on his left hand side into the chicane. There's a little bit of contact there. There's 2 abreast, which is crazy to come in here. A little bit of contact there by Mike. He's hit the wall, hit the barrier, and it's just struggled to get it. Oh, the contact there, unsighted. Harry Cook goes straight into the side of him. Harry was really lucky to not be affected too badly either, really. Eventually, look, as you can see, Mike has slowed down. That's why Mike was so far behind initially. Let's watch it from Mike's perspective. So Mike is on the outside and way too keen to go in together. A little bit of contact there. And there's the contact. Mike's actually hit the wall slightly. Yep. Slows right down to allow Rob to get back past. Yeah, so Rob unfortunately was a little bit of contact there with Mike. The stewards will have a look at it, but you can see how much of an effect that will do for your race from there onwards. So Stephen has been passed by Josh. Josh now in third, but Tom's in the gravel. That slowed him right down. And Craig is looking to go ahead, and it's 3 wide down into this corner. Oh, who's going to let off? It's going to be Craig. So Tom in the gravel. Whoa, a little bit of contact there with Josh, but they still managed to keep themselves going. So Josh and Tom are now fighting for the lead. Josh is second. Tom has just got ahead. And this is good for Josh. He really needs the points. So if he keeps his head down, he could at least get the podium and maybe even the win. Josh on the inside, looking to get past. And a little bit of a push, and I think he's got it. Yeah, looking good. Well, no, maybe not. Tom's just got back ahead of him. Further down, we're behind Stephen here with Mark, and there's a bit of contact with the wall there with Stephen. He's just hit the wall, and I think he could do it again. Oh, a little bit of tap. In actual fact, Mark looked like he helped out Heathy there. So races happening left, right and centre. Now Joe is on the back end of Darren Parker here, so Joe seems to have got this Mazda hooked up this time. A little tweak in the old settings. Yes, he's on the hard, on the soft, sorry, so it might look a little bit quicker than usual, but it's still looking a lot better than it did in race 1. So the 2 Renaults, the Mazda and the Nissan of Craig now in down to 8th, so the effects of the hard tyres already doing their job. Further up, Tom is still behind Josh here. Now Tom's got a run on Josh as they go down to the tight right-hander down at the seafront. Tom's got him, but is he going to run wide? Just slightly, and Josh goes back on the inside. This is great racing between the two. Into the bus chicane, Tom lifts off, lets Josh in. So further down, Mark has managed to get away from the rest of the pack, so he's in the podium. No doubt he will catch up the rest, and this fight between Joe and Darren is still going on, with Stephen just a little bit ahead here on the hard tyres. Look at that, Joe on the inside and looking to get past the Subaru now. But those Renaults, the power of those engines, just a little bit quicker on the straights. Joe goes on the outside, back onto the inside, and into 4th position with Sam and Darren still side by side with Craig just close behind. Further down, Harry on the hards in 9th, Mike not quite up further than we expected with Mike, unfortunately, and Rob is feeling the effects of that accident earlier, and oh, Rob is off into the gravel. We've caught him just at the point he goes off, so Rob, a little bit of an accident there, and that's not going to help him. So Rob's race pretty much over with, and just going to gain the points for finishing from here. So Tom still fighting with Josh. Josh now leading, still leading, and it's changing here and there, and all the time the two fight, Mark is going to catch up. So Mark is not too far behind. He's coming up to the hairpin just about now, with Joe not too far behind. So if we look here, Joe is catching up with Mark. That Mazda looking so much better than it did in race 1, now looking competitive. Tom's still on the back of Josh here for the lead. So lap 5 of 13, Josh is currently leading. Josh has been super in wanting that win, that first win. It was snatched away from him in season 1 from Sam at Spa, and since then Josh hasn't quite been able to do the same. He did have a second position finish at Brands on the final of season 1, and season 2 has not been the start that he's wanted by any means. That's a good exit from Tom out the chicane. Still not quite there. Let's look further down. Mark has got a little bit further away from Joe. We're now watching Stephen behind Craig, and the 2 Renaults are behind. Mike on his own. Harry could be catching Mike, and then obviously Rob further back. Oh, contact there. That's Sam. Sorry, that's Darren. Darren's just lost it. So we'll have a little look at the replay of that. Let's watch from Darren's perspective over here externally, and you see the speed way too quick into the corner. Quite a hard contact. Oh, and even the momentum's pushed Darren straight back into the wall at the exit of the corner. On board with Darren, and yeah, unbelievable sense of speed going into that. So it's a big mistake by Darren, but he's gone off himself. On board with Heafy, and he's just coming up to Craig into the corner, and then all of a sudden, bang, and you just see Darren there going into the wall. Yeah, so unfortunately Darren has just gone into Stephen big time, and it's affected him. He spun out, and Tom's got to hit the curbs. So Tom is unfortunately in the gravel, so Tom is out of the lead of this race. Mark goes past, so Tom's down to 3rd now. That's a big off for Tom. I think he just hit the curbs. I don't think there was anything to do with Josh there. Let's have a little look at the replay of that one as well and find out what happened with Tom. Let's watch Tom then as he comes over these curbs. And the amount of speed that goes into the turn here, as you see, look at that, the car is all over the place and struggles to get out of the gravel. On board with Tom, and you can see, just look, the slight cut, and he just gets the wheels on the inside of those curbs, and that's where it was dangerous, and it's nearly spun in completely out and has allowed Mark to get back onto the track safely. Let's watch it from Josh's view. Wow, the amount of movement in the car. Yep, so Tom unfortunately hit the curbs way too aggressively, and it's just launched him in the air, unsettled the car, and there was no way he was going to recover from that in the gravel. So Tom now fighting with Mark for 2nd position. Mark looking strong here. Tom's on the inside with, whoa, Tom hit the grass, and that is just getting himself in a bit of a mess with getting that car settled again out of his rhythm. And Joe here is not too far behind Mark and Tom in 3rd and 2nd, so he could be on for a podium. Craig out on his own now in 5th. Stephen is 6th, Sam is 7th, with Mike up to 8th after Darren's spin with Stephen. There's Harry and Rob there. So Harry now just behind Darren. Further up, Stephen, Mike, and Craig. If this is his result for the hard tyres, it's going to be another strong one. On board with Mark, behind Tom. So I'm going slightly wide in the chicane. Tom gets a great exit. Mark's fallen behind a little bit. So that's allowed Joe to catch up. Mark going wide in the grass. So leading this race is Josh by a fair old distance now after Tom goes off. So this is the best opportunity for Josh to take his first win, but can he keep his head cool and just keep the car on the track? So I'm still ahead of Mark, but Mark has caught back up again. Craig now under a little bit of threat from Mike, who's caught up. Mike looking threatening here to Craig, and you can see how much more grip and exit speed Mike has got compared to Craig on the hards. And Mike gets past into 5th. Craig down to 6th now. Sam is 7th with Stephen still in 8th. Darren is still ahead of Harry, and Rob trying to catch up, but it's going to be too much for him in the laps left. Lap 8 coming on to lap 9 then. Back on with Mark, catching up with Tom. Look at the straight line speed of that Renault, catching up so quick to Tom in the old slipstream. Looks like he's got him on the inside. Oh, Tom, I don't think Tom saw him, I'm not sure, but that's not a good move from Tom. Side by side as they come down to the next bend. This is where Tom hit those curbs. This time he gets it right. So Mark ahead of Tom now into 2nd, Tom into 3rd. Tom will be frustrated with the way this race has gone so far. Oh, there's Mark who's gone off onto the gravel. Oh, big contact between Tom and Mark, and I think it looked like that Mark slowed down, and I don't know if he's got an issue or he's just gone behind Tom. Yeah, it's just gone behind. So it looks like Mark has gone off way wide, he's come back on the track, and big contact, a bit unavoidable unfortunately. So Mark has just gone behind Tom. Maybe he feels that there was a bit of fault to be had with his off there. We'll have a little look at the replay to see what happened, and see it from Mark's perspective. Let's have a little look now. Let's have a look at this again with Mark and Tom. So Mark slightly wide there, and it's just the curbs push him into the gravel, and the curb as he's just lost on the gravel. A bit of contact as he comes back on board with Mark. Have a little look. It's just here, it just ever so slightly runs wide. The curb unsettles the car into the gravel. The gravel's just swung him back on the track in the in front of Tom, who Unfortunately, he just misjudged it, but as you see, Mark's slowed down. Yeah, so it was simply a case that Mark ran wide, and as he's come back on the track to correct himself at high speed, Tom's got into him, thinking that it was he didn't know really where else to go. But lucky for both of the guys, it didn't really affect him too much, and no one lost out. So Tom now looking to get to defend, to cover Mark from overtaking him again, but looking like Tom has kept it there for now. Sam has got away from Stephen now, down in 8th, and Darren may be catching up to Heafy, with Harry further down in 10th and Rob just coming over the start straight line. And Josh is coming down to the tight right-hander, back down at the seaside. Tom and Mark at it again, can you believe? So Mark, oh, a little bit of contact, whoa, into the chicane there. Again, Tom still just a little bit behind Mark, so Mark has got a bit of a gap now, with Joe potentially further behind, although saying that Joe seems to have dropped back, whether that's him having a small off, bit of a mistake, or if it's just not quite had the pace to catch them up. Now Craig has got back past Mike, so Craig, of all people, on the hards, back into 5th. On board with Sam now, and he's got Mike and he's got Craig in his sights. Mike must have made a mistake somewhere. Stephen is still ahead of Darren. On to lap 11 of 13. Oh, there's Heafy, who's had a bit of an excursion in the gravel again on that S's. So that's allowed Darren to catch up. Now Darren's got a great opportunity here to get past Stephen in the Subaru. So Mike now is right behind Craig, looking to get past him again after losing the position. He's on his outside as they go into that tight right-hander, and he gets the move done as they come through the bus chicane. They're up. Tom's still behind Mark now, and this battle is not over. On to lap 12, 2 laps left. All the time that Mark and Tom are battling it out, they're not catching up Josh, and Josh is getting away. The gap is still pretty much just as big as what it was before, so Josh is looking to take his first win. Just less than 2 laps to go now. It's going to be Josh's biggest day if he does this. Tom is not letting Mark get too far away now. That's a good exit for Tom. He's looking quick into the tight right-hander. But it's not to beat as the two go into the bus chicane again. Tom gets tight to the barriers there. There's an opportunity here. Mark is still ahead. Tom just can't quite get him. Joe still in fourth and staying safe, not getting in any trouble, so this is going to be a great points haul for Joe. Mike still ahead of Craig. Sam is ahead now, and Darren is ahead of Stephen. So Darren is 8th, Stephen is 9th, but Stephen is not going to let Darren get too far ahead. Stephen is very quick in this Subaru, so he's going to push Darren for those points. They're on their final lap now, into the first S's. See how quick this downhill section is, and this turn here, full speed, hitting the curbs. If you get it wrong like Tom did, you'll go straight off into the gravel. So Tom is back ahead of Mark. Mark looking to get past all. Tom's got a little bit of contact with the wall there, so it's gonna go right down to the end. But this is Josh's big day, because after all the effort he's put in to get that first win and it was snatched away from him, Josh Hardy wins race 2 here at DragonTrail, his first of the season, his first ever win. And this for second, Mark gets it just ahead of Tom. Tom's going to have to take third. A very strong, solid performance here for Joe in the Mazda in fourth. He'll be glad for the better setup there. Mike is going to take fifth ahead of Craig in sixth. Sam is taking seventh. Darren just ahead of Stephen here, so looks like Darren is going to take it. Stephen's not too far behind, but it's not quite enough. Darren takes 8th, Stephen takes 9th. Harry is going to come away with 10th. And Rob caught up a little bit, but it wasn't quite enough, so unfortunately Rob finishes at the back in 11th. It's a first ever win then for Josh Hardy, who wins the second race here at DragonTrail. Mark takes a great second ahead of Tom in third. Joe takes fourth on his second ever race. Mike takes fifth. Craig takes sixth. Sam takes seventh ahead of Darren, Stephen, Harry and Rob at the back of the grid. And Gary unfortunately doesn't start the race due to some technical issues. So what this means for the points, again, Craig goes up to 182 points. Darren now on 153. Mike is passed by Mark with 128 to Mark, 125 to Mike. So they've switched back over. Tom is still in fifth with 125. Josh jumps ahead of Kieran now into sixth with 112. Sam is seventh with 97. Kieran is eighth with 89. Harry is 9th with 77, Rob is 10th with 60, 11th is Gary with 43, 12th is Stephen with 41, James still in 13th with 27, and Joe now on 17 in 14th. In the teams then, Elliott are still leading with 293, just 3 points ahead still of Park with 290, and K-Tech fall even further behind with 252 in third place. In the independents then, Mark is leading with 175, Mike in second with 167, so the gap has gone back up again. Josh is third with 148, Harry is fourth with 122, fifth is Gary with 70, sixth is Stephen with 52, James is seventh with 34, and Joe is eighth with 24 points.